Good afternoon, everyone. Taking a look after snow totals, Buffalo, New York. Indeed, it met expectations, record breaking. Get out your camera rig, take pictures of the snowflakes up close. Europe next on tap for the Super Freeze. Nighttime capture of the Earth, lights in big cities. Wait a second, view from the Earth doesn't show any lights or cities. And how is it they took 3 days to the moon in 1969, but 6 days in 2022? FDA approving sale of lab-grown meats. $204 for a rib roast, 10 pounds. Welcome to the new world. And what we consider the problem of the day is going to be gobbled by the next behind it. Starting off here, more forecasts for snow. Buffalo, New York, Great Lakes, another up to 3 inches per hour coming in over the next day and a half, all the way through Monday afternoon. Please be careful because the forecasts that were out for Buffalo, New York at 43 plus inches, when the National Weather Service Buffalo was forecasting up to 60 inches. So how close to the mark were they? About this close. Historic, record-breaking snowfall. They've never seen anything like this as far as records go back. How much is this in a single day? That's a lot. That paralyzes the cities. It's going to be days before anything starts moving. Although Buffalo's always prepared for snowstorms, they're probably going to clear it out much faster than places like Tennessee would with this type of snowfall. Deep depths. They were looking at around 6 feet in some areas, and at least 4 to 5 feet was the average. That as you look through the snow totals here, these images speak for themselves. If that's a 6-foot fence in the back, that's 4 foot. So that entire neighborhood buried. How long will it take for the road crews to come on in, clear the streets, and then everybody shovel their sidewalks and driveways and get back to movement again? Days from now for sure. November 17th to November 18th, and the snow still continues. Let's take a look here. For goodness flake. Oh, that's a great play on words. That's a lot of snow. Daily record broken. Now, the previous record was in 2014, and that was also with Boston with the most snow ever recorded. But the previous record was 7.6 inches. This one's 17.2. That's a 10-inch difference in the old record from even a few years ago. That is incredible. If it was an inch or two, you'd be like, okay. But breaking that by 10 inches, something has definitely shifted in our climate system. Western New York, looking at Orchard Park, 77 inches. That's well over the 60 inches that they anticipated, wasn't it? Eastern Lake Ontario, more lake effect snow, 72 inches. Natural Bridge, Watertown, 57. And you can read through the list if you put this video on pause. November reminds us to be thankful and focused on boosting our radiant health before winter. I use a potent remedy that's improved the quality of my life and deepened my sleep as well. I take C60 EVO olive oil almost every morning. Have a lot more energy and mental focus all day long. Working around the farm is easier and I have a lot more endurance. Remember, health is our greatest wealth, and pure C60 ESS60 really works. ESS60 is a breakthrough technology delivering the carbon-60 miracle molecule for humans and pets. Don't forget your furry friends, and check out the C60 EVO holiday gift collections for everyone on your list. C60 EVO's lab has an impressive track record of 31 years and my personal recommendation. You deserve the best remedies on earth, and so do the ones you love. Buy direct from the lab and upgrade your life today. Take 10% off your first order by going to c60evo.com/adapt2030 or click on that link in the description box below. And now on with the video. And I do appreciate you spending your time with me today to go through the information. Now also, homemade camera rigs, you can take some stunning up-close photos of the snowflakes. So think about that. Stuck inside, go grab a handful of snow, keep it in a cool place outside, and away you go. Now on tap for next week is the Super Freeze, EU inbound. And what else does that weather map tell us with this plunge in extreme cold temperatures? Well, all business is going to shutter and close for the rest of the year in the EU. I've done a few videos on this already. The conjecture was, and planning by the EU, anything electricity, natural gas goes into the homes, the businesses are going to have to shut until there's enough that when temperatures warm up in the spring, we can share it around. Because currently there's definitely not enough for business and citizens to heat their homes through the winter and stay comfortable, toasty warm at 19 maximum Celsius, which is in the 60s in your home. So as you go through your winter, would you heat your home into the mid 60s? And that, no, you would turn it up into the low 70s. There's just not enough energy any longer. There really isn't. So the choice is made between business and riots on the streets. Well, they're still going to get civil unrest regardless of what happens. They're just trying to lessen the effect by diverting electricity and natural gas into homes. Now, this can only go on for so long, so when we come into spring planting, where's the fertilizer coming from? You have to realize that all the chemical industries have shuttered or will shutter as they move into this cold phase. That means fertilizers. Anything that was to do with metal smelting, steel, aluminum, zinc, nickel, copper, that has all ceased and shut business operations. BASF, the largest chemical producer in Europe, they're going to go over to China. There's no more inputs. There's barely enough inputs to keep the citizens warm. So this is going to be something to behold as we watch the full collapse of the European economy. And I don't think it'll take too long before people are on the streets. How will that be met with? Will they talk and be, okay, we understand your problem? Nope, throw the police out there. What kind of chapter are we repeating in history? Leave your comment in the comments below as you watch the video. You think we're back into the 1640s, the 1450s? You think we're at early 1800s? I mean, where do we sit in this timeline of citizens don't have enough energy or food, and then governments are going to respond to quell those requests for more resources? And moving over to Orion, the Artemis 1 mission to the moon, I thought, wow, this is cool. I want to see what kind of footage they're putting out. What I see, though, is the most grainy, ridiculous, you could do better with your own cell phone footage, and this is supposed to be NASA sending images back. Now, this whole thing about, it takes a little time delay. Okay, but the quality of the image should be the same, whether it takes 1 second or 4 seconds to beam it back. Another thing I noticed, too, as we look deeply into the dark side of our planet, obviously you're looking at the sun over there, that big bright thing to the left. We see the Arctic ice cap, interesting. But then look at the back side of the planet. It is totally black. And you probably say, yeah, it's nighttime over there. And I would say, yeah, there's supposed to be lights in these massive cities wherever you are on the planet, right? Why is that not visible? I'll let you be the judge of that. And also I'll let you be the judge of this. We got this little tiny rocket in 1969. It only took 3 days to zoom up there, land people on there. And now we have these massive, gigantic double boosters on the central fuselage rocket, and it takes 6 days to get up. Oh, they said they want to do a couple circles around the moon. Okay, well, if that was the case, then the same thing should have been true in the 1969 launch, but I'll leave it there. And speaking of energies, did you know why we're using solid iron and steel tools for gardening? The soil apparently diminishes the magnetic forces of the soil, leading to less food production. Brass or copper gardening tools boost crop production yields by 40 to 50% because they do not impact the magnetic field of the soil. Although they're much more supple, they'll probably bend quite a bit more. And I am really starting to explore more into the electro-agriculture aspect of things, especially putting electric charge into the seeds before you plant them. A lot of missing history and technology that is simplicity. But what's not simple, the USDA approved the sale of lab-grown meat. I saw Wired magazine approved for the sale in the United States for the very first time. The FDA will allow chicken made from real animal cells and bioreactors to be sold. Now, mainly it was meat before, but now we're going to get lab-grown chicken. So it seems like the menu is expanding with the lab growns. If you're a fan, you are super stoked that chickens are going to be on the menu. I bet fish should be next. Speaking of chicken, Sydney Morning Herald, get used to food shortages. Chicken, dairy, veggie prices predicted to rise again. And I say, why is that? I thought we were a solution-oriented species. If there is an opportunity, somebody should be able to pounce on that and supply the needs of those who want. But why is it that suddenly food is something that there's no solution for? It goes against almost everything of business in the last 100 years. So I'm wondering, what is this purposeful shutdown happening with the food supply? That's my own opinion. Because if there's this much opportunity for people to make millions and billions of dollars, why is nobody actuating or taking action on this? That's another question. I guess it's a question video. Speaking of meats, let's take a look. This is from Sobeys, serving Atlantic Canada. Yay. Maritimes. Newfoundland. $204 for about 9 pounds of meat. If you're going to go 4 kg, which is the weight on that, look at that. It's 50 Canadian dollars per kilogram. I don't know who's affording those prices. Surely isn't me. I'm going to the Amish to get my meat. Live weight. But this will be followed up by increasingly marketing new choices. The insect burgers, okay, we've seen that come and gone. But here's something that I hadn't seen before. If we look into the orange, strawberry, banana, Dole 100% juice, what we see is cochineal extract. And I said, what is that? Circled in red on the box. Insects. Dried insects, powderized. So if you're looking for words of wisdom, hunger is the first element of self-discipline. If you can control what you eat and drink, you can control everything else. So how many times will we need to do that in the future moving forward? And to leave us off today, what do I have here? Hopefully you can see those in the camera pretty cleanly. This one here, basil flowers that while they were growing on the stems, I trimmed them off, put them in the oven just until they were dry. About 15 minutes, I think it was at the lowest setting. And then I put them in the vinegar. This is white vinegar that you could get. Notice the color change in that right there, how it's turned so purple. I did the same exact thing, but these were the fresh flowers. Notice how much more of a pink shade it's taken on. Vinegar is good for, preservation. So take a look at the difference in the colors on this. Hope you can see it right here. I prefer to go with the dried. I think it extracts much more and allows transference of not only color but taste in this vinegar. I prefer it. So just as words of wisdom, fresh into the vinegar is no match for drying out something as an herb to put it, to infuse it, make a tincture, or just put it in vinegar. Now I'm making specialty vinegars. People that have this go, whoa, what is this? Doesn't taste anything like apple cider vinegar. Pour it through a coffee filter and take all the debris out of there. Make sure your coffee filter is the brown one, the unbleached paper, and it'll roll through, extract everything, and you're left with a nice liquid there that you can use on salads. Or if you want to, just take your tablespoon or whatnot or ladle in here and then just drizzle it on your salads. Just thinking of holiday ideas, because almost everything's being frozen right now and there's a lot of dead vegetables laying around in people's gardens. If you still have these flowers that were coming out as the seasons shortened and yet all these basil flowers laying around, I bet you still, if you didn't rip them out of the ground, have about 100 or 50 of these, even on a single plant, that produce 20 or 30. Cut those off, continue to dry them out, and then put them in vinegar and then see what results you have. I'm just experimenting because I know that's the way we need to go in the future. So something simple, and I personally would never put white vinegar on a salad, but this here, next time my next choice is going to be apple cider vinegar with the basil flowers, and we'll see how that works out. If you're looking for storable foods, My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, that link's in the description box below. As well as every Thursday night, 10 p.m. to midnight, Ransom Godwin and myself talking about these issues for 2 hours at a time. We stream out on 8 different platforms, which I leave the links in the community tab before we go live so you can choose your favorite. Because we are coming into the season of food, I do wish you the best and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.